Hey everyone, welcome back to another Megatron video review. And right now I'm going to be reviewing Generation 2 Megatron. And I've been trying to get this figure for a while. I owned it when it actually came out. And I finally got to pick one up for a few bucks. So without further ado, let's go into the figure. And this is the first figure that I remember Megatron being an actual tank. And I had this figure because I couldn't get the original Megatron. It was like banned from every store when I was a kid. So unfortunately I didn't have that figure, and the only thing I could get was this figure. So when I got it, I was kind of put down because, you know, they came out with Megatron. All the other figures came out and they were the Generation 1 style, but they were just repaints, most of them. But Megatron got a completely new redesign. So this is what we got here. So from what I remember, this is the first time I've ever seen Megatron as a tank. And he's here in the usual bright neon colors from the Generation 2 figures. And I have to say, right now I appreciate the figure way more than before. Even though I played with it and I loved it, I like it more now because I think it's a cool figure. For what it was, a lot of figures that came out of Megatron don't look anything like Megatron. This doesn't obviously look like Megatron, but the head sculpt is the same, which I'll get into. And I think this toy is pretty cool. This is him in his tank mode. Okay, and he features these really bright colors. Right here you have the bright neon green, and it has the camo purple on it. It also has an actual turret, which is actually purple as well. And it has an actual sticker here. It says Big Stick on it, if you notice it right there. And the tank mode it's perfect. I mean, the tank mode is perfect. For being a tank, this toy was pretty cool riding around. And I'll give you guys a view of them all around. And the actual turret actually rotates up and down, as so, probably 45 degrees up and down. And it's a pretty awesome figure. I love this figure. He actually has a gun here that actually he ends up holding later on, which I'll show you in a minute. And he does feature sounds. Yeah. So if you push down on it, he actually has like a engine sound / wheels turning sound. And it does roll. So yeah. Another cool feature is on top of the turret here, if you open it up, there's a slot which you can actually house the missiles. So these are the missiles I've had since when I had the first one. But I just finished purchasing this figure, and I'm glad I kept these small pieces because they're pretty tough to find. And you load them right into the slot. Close this up, and if you notice in the back here, there's a tab. You pull that tab, and it makes a cocking noise. Okay, once you cock it back, you press the button right here. Makes that boom noise. I'll do it again so you guys can see it. Hear this. Here we go. And that thing launches pretty good. So anyways, that's him in the tank mode. And I'm so glad that the actual electronics work on this toy because it's a pretty cool toy. I'll show you guys what else it can do once it transforms. So what I'll do is I'll lift it up here and I'll get into the transformation. Let me just give you guys another view of him. Now this part, the top part doesn't rotate like, you know, a real tank would, but you'll see why. These are going to end up being the actual arms. So I'll get into the transformation right now. So it's one of the simpler transformations in a figure. You just break them in half like that. Snap this, fold it forward. Has two tabs that snap down. Before you do that though, you got to open up this part in the bottom, which if you notice is the bottom of the tank there. You're just going to open up the folds like this. Slide that out like so. Slide that out like so. Fold these back in. Fold out these tabs. These actually become his feet. And we're going to lock this into the bottom part here. Swivels right into that part. like so. And what you want to do next is take this part down from the top here. Let's just take this out. This turret actually becomes his gun later on. What I want to do is just slide these out, rotate them down, slide this out, rotate it down, take the bottom sections here, rotate that 180 degrees, and that becomes the arms. And as you can see, this figure is pretty big. So another cool feature is, I don't know if it'll work, but you slide the actual turret sideways and his head flips forward. But in this case, mine doesn't really work like it should. It's kind of stuck. When you flip this forward, his head's supposed to pop out, and it has spring loaded. And that's what's supposed to happen. So when you just slide that forward, snaps, and it's supposed to say that sound there. So yeah, that's him in his robot mode. And as you can clearly see, it's pretty cool. It has that iconic Generation 1 Megatron, so you know who you're actually playing with. It also features the way that he had the actual big cannon on his arm, but in this time he has it on his shoulder. And once he's in robot mode, he's not so bad. Actually, in both forms, he's not so bad. And you just take his gun, put it right here. It ends up becoming his laser. So, and that's Megatron in his robot mode. Now, this figure, like I said before, I actually appreciate it 1,000 times more now than when I had it before. Because looking at it, it's a pretty cool transformer. His articulation as a robot, he actually can rotate this all the way around. He makes so much different noises that I forgot exactly every noise he actually makes. I think you're supposed to have the gun on this side. I'm not quite sure how it works, but if you rotate this somehow, he does that. When you press his head on the top, he says Megatron attacks. And he also actually has that feature still. So that's pretty much that articulation. His knees, he does bend at the knees there. His arms actually can rotate, but that becomes a part of the transformation. And this is Generations 2 Megatron. If you're a Megatron fan, Transformers fan, this toy is awesome. He makes a great display piece. He looks like Megatron. He's one of the underrated versions of Megatron. Now that I notice him, he's actually really awesome. His face here, if you look at it, it's purple. But how cool is that face mold? It looks just like the G1 face mold. And I had so much fun playing with this as a kid. And unfortunately, he dwarfs the G2 Prime, because G2 Prime is basically Generations 1 Prime. And he dwarfs all of the other figures. So he's one of the biggest Transformers you're going to have in your collection. So he's pretty good. He stands probably over 12 inches tall. He's massive in his robot mode. But I'll give you guys a 360-degree view of him. And he's really cool, man. I think this figure is so awesome. And he has all the features. He has all these details on him. They did a really good job. As far as even the abdominal part here. It has a lot of different little features all over his arm. Has like an exhaust piece there. Has all this stuff. All those little details. It just adds to the figure. And they really did a good job. I remember this toy being pretty pricey when it came out, but I got it anyway. Anyways, I give this figure a solid 10 out of 10. So if you guys are a Transformers fan, Megatron fan, this toy is so cool. I recommend you guys go and getting it. I got it for a few bucks in a flea market. If you can find it, pick it up. This toy is awesome. This is Chukatron saying peace, love, harmony, and God bless. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe. This is Chukatron and Megatron saying, Decepticons, retreat!